have you been missing all that good food?
Yeah.
All that intelligent conversation? All that corn?
We told you you used too much.
Well, quit your crying and check out all that.
How bad can it be?
Get all that and more. Every Saturday night at 8:30, 7:30 Central, only on Smith.
You're never done doing Nickelodeon.
Kick it.
Welcome to Splat Attack, a 90s podcast honoring the slime-filled past. I'm your shipwrecked island girl, Kat.
And I'm your vital information correspondent, Alex. And Kat,
That's me.
what are we talking about today?
Well, this is just an introduction. Before
What are we
we
talking-
blow your mind, the show is all that, and yes, we do it all the time. So,
man.
yes, if you haven't guessed by now, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of all that with some of the cast here today. So, yeah, let's just cut to the chase and jump into some introductions. So, can we get a big trampoline or something? And come on, jump right in, sit your booty on the floor in a chair, and let's do this.
Well, coming in from the studio, we've got Leon Frierson joining us for the podcast today. What's up, Leon?
Let's go. I'm back, baby. What's up, Splat Attack Pod? We out here. Leon, Lee Boy Frierson in the building. Fresh off some controversy. It'll be all right, yo. We're going to address it soon. But no, I'm glad to be here to celebrate the great memories, the great times of all that, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. And I will say, because like Leon always comes through. Dude's just awesome and amazing. But we did have some others that were slated to join, but then just scheduling conflicts came up. I actually had somebody who was supposed to be here for this episode and texted me just before we got started and came down with 101 fever and is very so apologetic, but asked, is it okay if I do something in the future? So you'll be seeing some more of these cast members soon.
But hey, we appreciate you keeping us alive though on the Splat Attack Pod. You guys have always been supportive of us individually, as a show, as an entity, Nickelodeon, all that. We appreciate it. Shout out to all the nostalgic fans, man, and of course, including you all. So
thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I mean, we love the show. We love Nickelodeon, and that is where I want to start with. Because we all know, and you had already alluded to it with the controversy. We had this episode slated to be here, and in this point in our schedule in November. About halfway through the season, we start planning out our next season. So we had this episode already slated because it's the 30th anniversary, and we love all that, and we want to talk about it. And then Quiet on Set hit. And then the whole crew we were all debating on how do we want to handle this, and that was really the trick, because there's a lot of people who have some very strong opinions about what happened, about Nickelodeon, about all that, about the castmates, and a lot of very, very strong opinions. And we don't want to discredit, we don't want to insult, we don't want to ignore. I mean, this thing happened. But we also don't want that to be the main focus of this episode, because the documentary is already out there. People are already talking about it. Other podcasts have been talking about it. And I'm not saying that we don't want to talk about it. I'm saying I don't want that to be our focus, because there are so many other good things about Nickelodeon, and especially about all that. And that's mostly what we want to focus on in this 30th anniversary, is things that are worth celebrating. But before we get into that, we do need to talk about it a little bit. And I know, Leon, you have something that you would like to say. So yes, you were on it. It was good to see you on there, and I'm glad that you were. If anything, I am happy to see that people were starting to feel comfortable enough to come forward and share their stories, and because that's not easy. And I'm glad that something is being talked about, and hopefully some change will come from it. But as far as you are concerned, what are some things that you would like to add?
I have a lot of thoughts actually. I have a whole canned statement. Some of it you said, hey, let's get to the celebration and not forget about the things that are worth celebrating and the people, the staff, the celebrities, the talent, the era that was so worth celebrating, right? Everything shouldn't be going astray because of one quote unquote bad apple, right? And so I think it's important to remember that, hey, don't cancel me because of what someone else did and I'm associated. What kind of sense does that make? Um, and then in general, this is somewhat similar to what we're going through. I will say with SplatCon, and you guys make sure to use your code SPLAT10, SPLAT25, where people are wondering, like, hey, how do you celebrate with everything that's going on? Well, I would say that, hey, Dan Schneider didn't produce on Rugrats or Salute Your Shorts or Are You Afraid of the Dark or what else is out there? Oh, Figure It Out. All these great moments, great shows. Nick News, Linda Ellerby, holla at me, man. We need you as Black. So many great things
That'd be great if
that
we could
took
get Linda.
place on Nickelodeon that are not associated with Dan Schneider or Brian Peck, John Handy, Josh Handy, whatever the guy's name was. Who cares about those people? Those people need to be exposed. We've done the job, and let's move forward and not blame those that are left behind that are here to carry up and hold on to the great tradition that is Nickelodeon, that is children's television from the 90s when things were just so much greater, and the reason why we love nostalgia in the first place. Now I will say a lot of these emotions and things have been brewing up for a long time. If you listen to, and not to speak for like Angelique Bates, if you listen to an Allison Stoner, not on Nickelodeon, but still it makes sense, right? You know that there are some dark sides to children's television. This documentary did not create that. Have you guys heard of Corey Feldman? Have you heard of Macaulay Culkin? Like, come on now. We know about the dark side of children's television. So I would also celebrate those that are brave enough to come out. From me and myself, it was less about me and more about Amanda Bynes. In my personal case, she was a very close friend of mine, and I felt compelled to come out to discuss, her situation and what things may have contributed to that. And then just in general, two child stars, and I've been working on I've worked on a reality show we tried to get out there, and there might be some interest now. They might want to hear my story now. But I came out with Child Star Reboot in 2020, wanting to introduce us to the world in a more positive light. He talking about what it's like to transition from being a child star to adulthood and the type of trials and tribulations that we go through. Can we get a regular job? Can we work at Ralph's or at the bank? Hell no, you was on Nickelodeon. You're not rich. No. So those are the types of things that I already had in my spirit, that I already had in in my Rolodex as far as issues I wanted to get out there. This happened to be the vehicle. It might have took a little slight turn. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know too much about Pickle Boy. Now I had seen Dan Snyder and I seen him with the Jamie Lynn Spears, all that controversy and everything with Ariana Grande, and a lot of stuff was out there. So just don't pretend like you didn't know about it. Let's acknowledge it. Let's get those people out of our space. But then also, let's have some grace and allow them to apologize, make amends for what they've done in the past. I want to say that I accept Dan Schneider's apology to all of us. Maybe you should reach out to people personally. I don't think that there's a difference between being a bad boss and making some bad content from being a sexual predator. And I want to make sure that they playing with his name out there. He's not these other guys. So let's just make that clear as well, because it's all kind of jumbled in the documentary. There are some differences there, but allow some grace, because you would want some grace and you would want to be forgiven. So allow people to evolve. That was a lot. Now that was a lot now. Like I said, I've been working on this for a long time. And I understand that people aren't able to, I can't expect people to be where I am with it. And I have not been through the things that other people have been through. So I am there to shed light and also to provide a forum to those that want to speak their truth. So God bless everyone in the situation, and just hope we can move on and be better in the future. That's what this is about, is the future. All them TikTokers 10 years from now, they're gonna say they used me on TikTok. That's what it's gonna be. Instagram, they elevated me and threw me away. They banned me and shadow banned me. That's gonna be next, y'all. So y'all just get ready. We trying to prepare the youth here. So, like I said, God bless everyone that's involved and has an opinion on it. You're here, and you're welcome to have your opinion, whether bad or good. So, can we move on? Are we done now? Are we done now? Well, no, because they about to come out with another episode. We're gonna have it all over again.
Yeah, all over again.
So,
go ahead, Kat.
I think it's important to acknowledge is that multiple things can be true. Like we can want to enjoy and celebrate the work of a talented team of people and artists, and want the individuals within that group who grossly abuse their power to be held accountable, and also validate the experiences of witnesses and survivors to that behavior. So we can like the programming produced, and acknowledge that the industry as a whole needs better supports and protections, especially for young people who work within it. Again, to, like you were saying, Leon, to improve for the future.
And Kat, let me get behind that, because like you said, the industry as a whole, I want to make sure that this is not sacred to Nickelodeon or one producer or two producers or three producers. This was the industry. A lot of the things that we've seen on our program was obviously, it was status quo. It was available for consumption for young people, and maybe it's not appropriate now, but that's a lot of things from the 90s. It ain't just our show. It ain't just Nickelodeon. And so I caution you, if you want to be a fan of this, just make sure that you are looking at it from a wide lens. Because if I was the boycott Nickelodeon, I'd be boycotting Disney, Apple, Pizza Hut, McDonald's. They all got something we can boycott. Target, which y'all did this last week, y'all. We could be boycotting everything left and right. Let's just focus on the actual issues and get past them and accept people's apologies with grace. That's what I would have to say. But so thank you all for allowing me to have the platform here. And just remember, this is the 90s, baby. We didn't, things have changed. It don't change the way it was. So
Yeah, absolutely. And because you had mentioned it, I want to mention it briefly. We'll talk about it more in our commercial break, but SplatCon coming up, and I'm really excited. We, the Splat Attack crew, are very excited to be out there. It'll right now, that's going to be our first time meeting each other in person, and we're very excited to do that.
Yes.
But we're excited for SplatCon, and I've been trying to help advertise it on social media, and every time I post it up there, I mean, there's all kinds of people who are very, very excited. But then you also have those people who are very skeptical about, man, after Quiet on Set, I don't know if I want to go to this thing. I don't know if I want to support. Dude, it's Nickelodeon, Viacom, Paramount. They have nothing to do with SplatCon coming up. It's all run by fans for fans, and it's not supporting them. It's supporting the people that we loved and we grew up watching, including Leon, including people who were on Quiet on Set coming forward with their stories. So again, celebrating what we loved and the people we loved, and that's what we're there to do.
Yeah, and with this being all that episode, I can tell you right now, I'm not sure when it's gonna drop, but we're gonna have a whole slate of all that people that have already signed. You can't back out now. You can't back out now.
Ink is dry.
No, but I'm sure they want to be there. They want to celebrate with you all. They want to meet you and greet you in person. So come out and support the community. It's not about me or them or us. And don't forget, like I said, most of these shows don't got nothing to do with that. The creator, y'all know who the creator is. Nothing to do with that. So, just come out. And if you need to, voice yourself in person, go let us know. Let us know. I'm not turning down any conversations. So I'll be happy to meet with you and make sure you use code SPLAT10 or SPLAT25. It'll help out.
All right. Well, Leon, thank you very, very, very much for speaking forward. And I'm glad that we could give a platform that you're welcome to share that kind of thing. This is not our first time talking to Leon. This is actually my third. I've had a one-on-one conversation with him on my Instagram a few years ago.
You did.
And then last year, Leon and Christy Knowings, they were both here talking about their favorite All That sketches. So some of these questions are going to be probably a repeat for Leon, which is going to be fine because there's going to be some of you guys who haven't seen those previous episodes. So if you like what you see here, go check out some of those other episodes. Um, but for this, we'll get started with what was the audition process like?
So it was Fire Marshal Bill. If y'all remember Jim Carrey on In Living Color, yeah, he had the mouth going. Was just like one of them damn puppets, like a ventriloquist dummy. That's what I was doing. My best ventriloquist dummy act. No, so no, there was a ventriloquist. Oh no, there was Fire Marshal Bill. Excuse me. An impression. I think I made up my own character around it, but I was definitely there to save the day, and I had that dumb look on my face. And also I did a Mike Tyson impression. Obviously that's just the lisp and the high voice. I Yeah, I don't got it in my wheelhouse no more. And then I believe I did an old lady, and so they asked me to come with a couple characters. It sounds like it was 3 of them. Also, I had some audition sides, which was probably just one of the more tame school scenes or something, just to see what kind of character I had. And I will say that was probably where I was best, was just being myself, having a lot of attitude, being able to deliver lines, especially one-liners. I mean, that's what a lot of all that is really just about, the one-liners and then your reactions. Those are things that I had really learned from, doing theater for a number of years. Before all that, maybe 2 or 3 years, I jumped into the game at maybe 6 or 7 years old, started doing pretty big theater shows. All that, I came on to the audition around 10 years old. And once it came across my desk, so that I didn't have a desk at 10, but if I were pretending, um, you know, I just knew this was the one. I knew I had to take it serious. I was a huge fan of Keenan and Kel at the time, and this was the best show for kids on television, I believe. I mean, especially if you think you're funny, you don't want to really play, because so much of the 90s, like if you're on a sitcom, was like the funny kid next door playing the same character over and over. On all that, you get to be a new character every day, new costumes, fun sets, getting slimed, doing all kind of fun and crazy things for kids. And so I just took it so seriously compared to the other auditions that I had. And that's the number one memory that I have, is I just was very focused and I really wanted the job. And here I am. Yeah, here I am. I mean, and in the room, I can remember some of the faces that were there. Certainly Dan was there, and Brian Robbins, and just seeing that, I had a good feeling about it. I just had a good feeling about it. They came out, kind of gave me a hug, shook my hand, told me I did a good job. And that is not typical of the audition process. For others, I've heard that it took a bunch of auditions. Chrissy's told her story. She got like a jacket and all this stuff. They put a jacket on her back after her 10th audition, and told her, thank you. Yeah, come back to the family. And then, for others, there was also the whole national search, right? They were looking for people in Chicago and Florida and across the world. I think they were looking for someone in my position, I believe. And luckily, I fit the bill at the time. And it was just, it was a great couple of auditions that turned out to be a great experience.
Yeah, I've heard from other cast members, I guess the audition process, I mean, it has to change throughout the years, but I was curious as to if they asked you to come up with original characters or just read a script. Or so you mentioned Jim Carrey. Who were some of your other favorite comedians at the time that you were drawing from that inspired you in Keenan and Kel? Like, did you have a list of people that you had impressions of them, or did you?
No, I don't think so. I think with that, they asked me to come up with some, so I just kind of drew, like, because Jim Carrey, I liked everything on In Living Color, which is great because it actually is very, related to all that. So I definitely was in tune with In Living Color at the time. Am a huge fan of Robin Williams. I didn't do any Robin Williams, but his range and his characters and the things from the 90s, I still watch those same movies to this day. Mike Tyson was just a cultural icon that I thought. So I think I just had my pulse on the culture, if anything. And so I wanted to kind of portray that, hey, I know what's going on a little bit. And so I could be a little edgy. I always felt like that, even at 9, 10 years old. I always had a lot of attitude. And the training that I had was out of South Central Los Angeles. And so what I didn't have innately, I learned from a lot of the counterparts that I was training with. They grew me up in a lot of ways. So shout out to Amazing Grace Conservatory. They're still around, ran by Wendy Raquel Robinson, who was on Steve Harvey's show. She was on The Game, so on and so forth. And she's a great character and comedic actor. So I would actually say her. She taught me a lot. And then there were some other comedians, like I will mention Cheryl Harvey. She actually came up in comedic rooms with Jim Carrey and Robin Williams and a lot of others around that era. So she coached me at the time for sure, and she may have even put those characters in my head. So I would say, I wasn't into the comedy game so much. I've actually been on stage a couple times since, and I've done some sets. Won't do it again, but
No?
I've done a couple. You never know. Actually, you know what? I'll stick to the hosting sides a little bit. Less pressure. But even back then, I did the Gong Show. I don't know if you guys remember the Gong Show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did maybe a 2 or 3 minute set. Didn't get gonged, only because I was cute and young, probably. It was really a monologue about parents, but I made it funny. Similar to like what you've seen with Amanda Bynes, but she's so, man, her little snippet in Quiet on the Set. I mean, obviously I wasn't there at the club. I've heard about her abilities there. It's just amazing. But yeah, I mean, I've always been a student and loved comedy in general. And one of my, and I didn't mention, but I mean, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Yeah. I mean, Martin Lawrence, I have a lot of Martin Lawrence influence. I will say that. I love him. I mean, I see myself in him. And so I always loved his style of comedy. And then just Will Smith is just one of the best people to ever do this thing called entertainment. So
I do have both a statement and a question. I absolutely love the sheer determination and loyalty that you have with Amanda. It is incredibly inspiring, and there are people who go their whole life without having a friend like you. To no matter what has happened to them, you're always there for her, to help her, to support her, and that's freaking awesome. And I love that. I absolutely love that, and I admire that. Going along with that in mind, what are some favorite memories that you have of working with Amanda?
just watching her, and I every time I kind of talk about this, I just reminded of how talented she was. But my favorite thing was just watching her do Ask Ashley.
My mom always makes peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the peanut butter on the top and the jelly on the bottom. But I prefer the jelly on the top and the peanut butter on the bottom. What should I do? Well, Tracy, here's a little advice. Turn the stinking sandwich over!
So I had my own signature sketch with Fuzz. It was just me and Fuzz. But, once again, one-liners. We're going back and forth. And, with a little bit of practice and rehearsals, it's not too difficult if you're a trained actor, right? But what Amanda did,
Monologues.
monologue,
One
sitting there
shot.
on a bed, one shot, that is what's crazy. I've seen her do it so perfectly multiple times. And they'll like, do it again. And she'll do it again. Do it one more time. We didn't like the middle. Start from this line. And she would just recall, start from the middle, finish it out, and go have this incredible energy. And the precision, her ability, her diction, her ability to get out those lines, stay in character at that age is just uncanny. So I would say that was number one.
Dear Ashley, I really, really like a girl in my class named Sarah. I've asked her out 74 times, and she always says no. What's the deal? Well, Alex, here's the deal. Come real close to the TV, Alex. Closer, closer, closer. Sarah don't like you!
I would challenge anyone to find someone at that age that was doing anything like that could carry that much time on television on their own at 9 or 10 years old. Maybe 10 or 11 to 12. But yeah, you guys get the point. I don't know. When did she start Ask Ashley? Was it her first season in season 3? I don't know. She was there a little bit before me.
I want to say it was season 3.
I think so. I think
I want to say
was
season 3.
it was within within her.
She was already doing it.
inaugural
Yeah, she was
season,
already
yeah.
doing it when I came on. So we both started at 10. We're 3 months apart. She might have started at 9 because she was there a year before me. I know I was the youngest when I came on, but she was the youngest when she came on. Katrina was the youngest when she was there. But yes, so that would be number one. Number two, we spent some time. I went to her house. We've had some great times in her pool and chilling. So just the offsite things. And actually, I just posted up a picture of her, me and her together wearing the same overalls, same red t-shirt. She came to see one of my plays at Amazing Grace Conservatory. Didn't have to. And that's where that picture is actually taken, downtown LA. And so that was an amazing time for her to show up for me. And, for everyone to say, like, look at Leon's got this great support system. I think I was just playing some, off-site character. Because at that age, I was in the conservatory with 17 and 18-year-olds, some people that were older. So I was just playing a minor character. And she, came to see me. That was great. And then, so that was offset. But even on set, in the classrooms, in the green room, I'll just say everything we did, we just had a ball. She was one of my best friends, especially at the time. We were stuck on set together, only ones of our age, until Mark Saul came along.
If I was the real checkout guy, I'd be the greatest checkout guy in all the land. And whenever I'd bag groceries, people from all over would gather around and say, "Oh, Stuart, this is the most beautiful bag of groceries I've ever seen. Ever!"
Just being with her was cool, man. She has hella energy. She's just as bubbly and crazy as she was in all of her scenes. And that's what I want to always remember her for. And I always pray that we could rekindle that friendship and that energy that we had. It'll happen one day. And just waiting on that. But yeah, Ask Ashley. This is one answer. Is Ask Ashley one of the best? Where's the Emmy? Where's the Emmy nod?
Seriously.
Got some Kid Choice Awards. Great, that's cool. But she deserved even more praise and accolades for that sketch. It was crazy. Led to a whole show. Led to her having her own namesake on a show. Not Keenan and Kel. No, just Amanda. Not Drake and Josh. Just Amanda. And it was her name. She's one of a kind, man. Shout out to me.
Yeah. I didn't realize it at the time. Like, I loved Ask Ashley at the time, but then going back as I'm older, looking at all the technical stuff, yeah, it's one shot. Yeah, she has to maintain that energy, like, and do it multiple times for multiple takes. Yeah, she has to memorize the monologue and deliver it impeccably. It's amazing for 9 or 10 years old. That's insane.
And for the people that want to hit, yeah, she read some of the letters. Yeah, we get it. She got a little bit of help, but she was 9. Stop playing with me. And then brush your stinking teeth.
I've seen adults. I do community theater. I've seen adults who can't do that. I've seen adults who have scripts in their hands and can't do that. You got it or you don't. And she had it in spades for sure.
Looking down the barrel of the camera and reading the letter, maintaining the energy.
I challenge you, anybody, actually, go ahead, put your little Instagram post together. We want to see you deliver an entire Ask Ashley segment. See if you can get it out. Let's see it. Let's see what you can do. The script is already there. You already got the blueprint. Can you even recreate it? No. She was creating it from the bottom.
That would be fun though, having Ashley off.
I ain't gonna do it yet.
That would be fun to do an Ashley off. Sam would do it. Sam would do it in a heartbeat. He already does.
Yeah, that's a good.
He's got the energy for it.
Oh yes.
That's a good one. So I will say, right now, please check me out on 80s, 90s, and 2000 Vibes, the podcast. I actually lead it every week with just something that irritates me, which is obviously from Leroy and Fuzz.
Today we're here to talk about something that irritates me.
And then so yeah, and I recap before we get into the show. So if you want to hear some new takes about that, and I'm probably gonna I got about 50 episodes of Lee Boy and Fuzz. Follow me at Lee Boy TV. That I put out. I address a lot of political things. I'm going to probably have a quiet on set response about victim blaming. So look out for something that irritates me in the future. All right. Bringing back the segments. Amanda, bring yours back too. I mean, yeah, it might be a little different now, but you know what I'm saying? We all different. We all different.
I was just going to ask, with some of these iconic characters, how much did you collaborate with like the writers, producers, wardrobe for sketches, especially for the ones featuring like your recurring characters? Like, did they see what you could do in the auditions and then pull from there and sort of elaborate on it? Or did they already have these ideas and then sort of moved cast around and cast it that way? Like,
I think for me, you know, I'll be honest. I was either young, too naive, or just having too much fun, where I was just kind of along for the ride. And you know, I don't want to keep going back to Quiet on Set, but I do because it is like people want to say like, oh, he wasn't that involved, or and there were some clips that I had in there that didn't get put out, and I kind of realized because there's a statement in there where where he says Dan, like, he made it known who his favorites were, or something like that. They have me saying something like that. And you know, I just wanted to put it out there that yeah, because those people spent a lot of time with the writers and cultivating ideas, bringing up characters, pitching things to the staff. That wasn't really my thing. I was literally playing basketball in off times. They had PlayStation in the green room. Had to do, you know, school for about 3-4 hours, and then I also was traveling. I want to say I lived in San Diego for part of it, and then also in like the Inland Empire where I'm close to now. And so I had a lot of, and I was also doing plays in the off time. So I just had a lot of things going on where I was just happy to be there a lot of times and just along for the ride. Now, one character where they definitely saw my talent, you know, had some vocals, had some little, you know, we were talking about, I was singing Willy Wonka before in the prep. But they allowed me to do CJ in the Cloudy Nights and kind of, you know, display some of my vocal skills. That was me singing, y'all. Don't hate. You know what I'm saying? Congratulate.
Wake on up, it's funky time to party. You start something for your buzzing party.
And Wyclef Jean like took to my talent a little bit. I tell the story all the time, and we talked about you know, a future in music, which was cool. And so yeah, and I love that they had us all dancing up there, and they did really, you know, utilize the talents that people came in with. And I would say that was mine, as far as just my ability to sing and dance, because that's how I got into the game. Like, acting was kind of on the back burner for me. I love to sing and dance as a kid. And you know, my parents come from Michigan City, Indiana. They were heavily influenced by the Jacksons and the singing groups from the 60s and 70s. And so that's kind of my introduction into entertainment in general. So yeah, I think that's where I was probably the most utilized. And then also just being badass kid. Like like I knew, like, from auditioning and so many 90s roles that were stereotypical, I knew how to curse and be, you know, be terrible. That wasn't my actual upbringing, but that's kind of the things that you had to go through in these typecast auditions in the 90s. So I was trained up.
Can you think of any characters that were starting or ones that they thought about doing and then just never happened? Were there any that you guys tried out and didn't end up on air?
yeah, anything, any impressions you had that you really wanted to get on there and just for whatever reason?
I can't think of anything. But I do know that a lot of that took place. If we had Christy here right now, y'all know she could do about 50 voices, right? You guys
Yeah.
know the Rolodex of her accents are amazing. So she's the type, and I would say she would be the number one person, if anyone, that would say, because what she did with Brenda Stone, what she did with whatever, those are all voices a lot of times that were pulled from one scene. Like she would have a one-liner in a scene and then be like, you're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing here?
The dentist, right? When she was the
Yes.
dental assistant to was it Dr. Bynes?
Oh, Dr. Bynes, you're so brave.
Yeah, and which is interesting because I don't know if you guys know Amanda Bynes' dad was a dentist and her mom was an assistant. So yeah, I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, so kind of pulled from reality. But yeah, Christy would come into these scenes with one line, or if she was in a school scene, which was, we were always in school scenes. She would always have something to bring to the scene. Me, I was just always yelling, and they just turned that into Billy Fuco, right? Like,
I'm Billy Fuco!
that was my superpower, just being loud and obnoxious. So, and then you know what? I will say, probably Repair Boy may have been a little bit of me pretending to be Kel and wanting to be part of that. Definitely loved Repairman.
I'm afraid to ask, but what was that? That was me! I'm Repair Boy.
And they may have given me a chance there. I can't remember exactly for sure. But I wouldn't put that past the writers for recognizing that I loved everything about Kel. Wanted to be I'm sure I wanted to be a mini Kel and a mini Keenan. So wherever they could fit me in, just made sense. So yeah.
Was there a mini version of Super Dude?
Nah, I
There
didn't. Well,
was a soup
wasn't me.
dude at one
Okay.
point
Okay.
in later seasons when because Keenan hosted when they brought the show back. I want to say season 7, maybe. There was Soup Dude and Super Dude. But yeah, I always wondered about that when they have some of the younger cast members or ones cast after the originals come on to play like a mini version of an iconic character, if that was like a wish fulfillment thing, like how cool that is to be alongside of those people. And
was there, because you different casts, different people, was there anybody who was on all that, present or past, when you were there, that you wanted to work with but you never really had the chance to?
You know what? I mean, Chris Farley showed up.
You gotta do it, Judge! Hey, man, what are you doing? All in the wrist. What goes on? What is you doing? Many times I even take a damn bit.
And that was before my time. And he's just one of the biggest personalities of the night. Like, he is the 90s. Like, right? His personality, his his guest appearances, and him just to be able to fit into so many different formats is somebody that I would have definitely wanted to get with. Hearing that Will Smith was working with Nick Cannon and they were friends and stuff, I'm like, is he gonna come on the show? Like, I definitely wanted to get with Will for sure, and was definitely jealous of Nick Cannon for being chummy with Will. But you know what? I think so much was fulfilled with the musical guest. It's hard to say that there was something else. I just had to get. No, we had Britney Spears in sync, and so many, and that's obviously just the top of the pop echelon. So many different hip hop acts and R&B acts as well that were just top echelon. That it's hard to say that someone else. But if there was anyone, Will Smith was very involved in like kids programming and stuff. So that would be the one person that if he would have came on, that would have been crazy.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite musical guest?
Oh, that's hard, man. Actually, it's not too hard because I'm a big fan of Lauryn Hill. I think she's one of the most incredible artists of all time, even though she's only given us one true album. And she was on, I believe, the 100th episode. She didn't come to set, which even adds to her mystique. Everyone else I met. Lauryn Hill, still haven't met her. But she would probably be my favorite. Now, actually getting to meet, funny enough, Shaq was a musical guest, right? Shaquille O'Neal and he is just one of the most incredible human beings that you could ever meet. Obviously, more known for basketball than music. And then if I'm looking back, I mean, Beyonce was on there with Destiny's Child. I didn't give a damn. I was tripping.
If you'd known then what you know now.
Yeah, man. She came on there with Wyclef Jean, and he had produced No No No, and they were a brand new group. It was their first probably TV report, and I was like,
we lost Alex.
I'm still here. I'm good.
I did give it to. No, literally, there was an opportunity to take a picture with them, and I was like, oh, I'm cool. I'm like, I was bigger than them, you know.
Oh.
I was bigger than them at the time. Like, I never heard no. I'm no. Sorry, I'm good. I did not want to get in the photo, or didn't want to take advantage. I can remember, like, my mom was like, because I have so many pictures. My mom was always, get in, come on, get them together. With the, she was winding it up with the snap.
Disposable cameras.
Yeah, she had both. We had that we always had one of those. She also had the film, so I'll give her credit. She was also was doing pretty good with that as well. But Fuji film back in the day. But yeah, she I think I declined the photo with Beyonce and Destiny's Child, which is a huge mistake. You guys know I put out my throwbacks and I don't have that one. So damn, gotta get back in the room with B. And I'm I'm in the hive too. So shout out to Beyonce.
Did you ever get to go to the All That Music and More festival?
No, and I'm mad. Look, part of the reason why I was in Quiet on Set, the real reason why I was in that documentary, that one, and I'm still mad about the 10th anniversary. They didn't call me. It's just kind of what happens, I guess. I think I might have been. No, actually, that was like in between our season. I remember Danny was going and he was telling me about it.
I'm Josh Server from All That with a Nick exclusive backstage peek at Nickelodeon's All That Music and More Festival. Me and my friends from All That are touring the country, hosting shows live on stage with loads of musical talent.
There's so much going on at the whole festival. You got a lot of great musical acts up there doing their thing. I know everyone's going to put on a great show, great sets, great band.
All That crew is amazing. The skits are fun.
It's for the kids, and it's a great way for all these artists to come together and put on a concert for kids.
It's more than just a concert. It's actually kind of a festival.
It's like the kids' fest, and it's like people our age, and we're going to be out there and just connecting with everybody and just having a good time.
So check out Nickelodeon's All That Music and More Festival. We might just be coming to a city near you. And look for more Nick exclusives right here on Nickelodeon.
But a lot of us didn't go, so it wasn't just me. They just, kind of hand selected people. And I got to do things that other people didn't get to do as well. Like I got to go on Figure It Out. Not everybody got to get that opportunity.
He's Leon Frierson.
I was nominated for a Kids' Choice Award.
This year's new category is a Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Rising Star.
It's like our Rookie of the Year award.
You selected one nominee each from the worlds of TV, movies, sports, and music. So let's find out who they are.
He's Leroy, Billy Fuco, and CJ of the Cloudy Nights. He's also the wild and whacked out Leon Frierson from All That.
Oh, boy!
Buzz, meet Mr. Cucumber.
Oh, very nice to meet you.
So shout out to them for recognizing me as the hottest rising star. Lost to Kyla Pratt, and she was hot. She was the hottest, yes. And so, I didn't get to go to Music and More, but I definitely heard the stories from Danny.
Oh no!
Shout out to Danny. And you know what? And Danny taught me bass guitar which is a fact that I've said before, but it's a little tidbit from behind the scenes. And so he put me on to the Roots, the rap and musical band, the Roots. And so he grew me up a lot within music. So it made sense that he was there for sure. I would have just been an annoyance. And so shout out to Danny. I always love him for what he instilled in me musically as well, organically, because I could rap my ass off, but learning those instruments, I actually played some bass guitar in church, so he helped me get closer to the Lord. All that. Shout out to Danny, man.
And Danny says hi. I'd spoken to, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I'd spoken to several people trying to see who all we could get on here, but he right now, as we speak, his band is doing a show. He he apologizes like right after I messaged him. He's like, "Man, I just posted that I'm gonna be doing this gig at this time on this day." It's like, "No, it's cool, it's cool." Been trying to get him on for years, and he's always busy, but that's okay. Not a complaint. That's cool. I love.
Hey, and exclusive. He'll be at SplatCon. He will be at SplatCon, and we'll be announcing that if you haven't seen it quite yet. Him, Josh Server. I'm just saying, just watch. Just watch. We're gonna have some great All That announcements coming up soon.
All right. Well, with all these great questions that we've got going for Leon, we've got some more coming up, and we've also got some trivia coming up that I think Kat's gonna have. She's gonna quiz me on some All That later, and we've also got a new email in regards to our last episode, also dealing with documentaries. So stick around. We're gonna take 5 minutes. 5 minutes, everybody. And we're going to have a few announcements, and we'll be back in just 5 minutes. It won't be that long, I promise.
Stay tuned, because All That will be right back on Snick.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of the 30th anniversary of All That. If you are enjoying it, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you are not subscribed to our channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. If you are listening to us on a podcast app, please leave us a review. Very simple actions for you, big things for us. Be big for us, please. One of the cool things that we loved about All That was being an audience member, being able to watch these amazing cast. And, we do that twice a month over on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/SplatAttack, where we do have live streams twice a month, one Nickelodeon-based, one just 90s-based. And we have a good time watching shows together, as well as exclusive episodes every Friday, along with early access, bonus content, all kinds of fun stuff. So patreon.com/SplatAttack. Make it so. One of my favorite things is whenever I go to the mailbox and I have a parcel inside, and then I get to check out some new shirts that are fresh out the box. And you can find some fresh out the box shirts over on our Bonfire page. Go to bonfire.com/store/SplatAttack store, where we have exclusive t-shirts that are specifically from Splat Attack, as well as some that are inspired from some of our favorite TV shows. We have the Snick Couch, we have our own slime tank, we have Clarissa Explains It All, ew, Ferguson, gross, along with all kinds of other amazing things. So go to our Bonfire page, bonfire.com/store/SplatAttack store, with hyphens in between.
Tune in next time, Slimesters, when the entire Splat Attack crew, that's right, all of us, gather around the slime tank to celebrate Nickelodeon's 45th anniversary with a very special guest whose creative vision shaped the orange years of the network that we love so much. You won't want to miss this exclusive interview, and you can find all the retrorific action here only on Splat Attack.
Now, back to All That on Snick.
All right, we are back. I told you it wouldn't be 5 minutes. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three. I don't know. I don't know right now, but I'll know when editing. But let's get back into our interview. Kat, what question do you have for Leon?
I think we went down into the second discussion break at this point.
Yeah, we did. We plowed on through.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
wow.
if we had the round table, each question would have been a little bit longer
Yeah.
response.
Okay,
from
considerably
everybody.
longer.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
thought I
okay.
learned my
That's
lesson
okay.
before when I made a whole bunch of questions for like a cast reunion. And I was like, we almost didn't get through half of them. Okay, so maybe fewer this time.
There was several more people for that, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm
Yeah, I mean,
still-
that's why I tried to be as long-winded as possible. But
Ah.
I mean, if you guys want to, we talked about musical guests. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we talked about
Well,
behind the scenes.
it's interesting because when I keep on calling it the reboot, but I guess it kind of was. It was just a gap year in between, and then when they brought it back, they started having, in addition to the musical guests, they had like a specific guest. I don't think they called them a host, but essentially like what SNL does, where they have like the weekly host. So that's something that the original run of all that you were involved in did not have, was musical guests plus some other celebrity coming in.
Outside of just a few special guest appearances for a sketch like Chris Farley. But yeah, that would have been cool to see. I mean, Sinbad was in there a few times. Did you get?
Yeah,
Did you get to
Ishbu's
work?
dad, right? Sinbad played Ishbu's dad.
Mhm.
Yeah, he did. I'm not sure if he was on any of my seasons. I'm not sure. I mean, I've met Sinbad several times, more in connection, and also special blessings out to Sinbad in his current condition. I know I believe he had a stroke and he's still recovering. So wishing all the best for him. And I would be remiss to not mention him with one of the people that I love. Like, do you guys, what was Guest House? What was the show? His movie? I can't look, I'm not gonna get it
House
wrong.
Guest?
House Guest. Look, I
House
said
Guest.
Guest House. House Guest was one of my favorite movies in the 90s. And then everything that he did, obviously in Good Burger, and he had just clean comedy in general, that anybody and all families could enjoy. I just want to give a special shout out to Sinbad and House Guest. Look, let me get it right. My bad. With Phil Hartman, man. And rest in peace to Phil Hartman. Love that movie and all of his movies in general. But yeah, so like I remember there were a couple guests that would, and I mean, it's kind of hard to say Diddy right now, but he did it, I think, twice. He did it in our season too, where he did a sketch, and he also was a musical guest. And those spots are actually really reserved for the people that were okay with being silly, and they weren't, they were really willing to spend time with the cast and actually get in with us. A lot of musical guests were in and out. They came late, left early, didn't see him again, shook hands, and got the hell up out of there. There were certain guests that really spent time with us. I remember Tommy Davidson was on set. I believe he did some stuff. A lot of that might have been reserved too for the more seasoned guests with Keenan and Kel, which is why I maybe couldn't remember. I didn't watch the show much when I was there. I was there and I participated, and so many sketches were filmed on a Thursday while I was in school, and they were trying to get my school hours done. And so I was really a lot of times only privy to the scenes and the sketches that I was in. And I hear people tell me a lot, so much now, things I would never remember. They educate me on all that all the time. So yeah, I mean, definitely Tommy Davidson sticks out for sure. And then Sinbad, just his presence around the entire franchise, from All That to Good Burger, is always we love him for that.
And now squat and welcome the father of Ishbu, Sinbu.
I am Simbu. Father!
Well, I guess this reminds me, was it somebody else? Was it Manny wanted us to ask about a specific musical guest? Yeah. So the Spice Girls were in a sketch and then were the musical guest, and you introduced them. So was that overwhelming having the Spice Girls in the studio?
Can you Spice Girls perform a song for us on the All That stage? possessed around the sound for our musical guest, the Spice Girl.
Baby Spice. She had the platforms on, right? Baby Spice. Shout out to Baby Spice, man. I loved Baby Spice back then. Also Scary Spice. Did they do Zig a Zig? No, I think they did. Do with your life, you have a good
They
time.
did
I
Spice
can't.
Up Your Life. They
Yeah,
did
Spice Up Your Life. They did do that. And literally have not watched it. It's just ingrained in my head, Spice Up Your Life. Just the sounds of that song on set. I'll never forget. Although I forgot that I announced them. I think I was just I will say that they were larger than life, obviously, at the time. And just one of those incredible guests that you just knew that you were part of something great at the time. And yeah, loved Baby. She was the first Baby. There's Baby Birdman Baby, there's the Baby, there's Little Baby, and there's Baby Spice. Stop playing with her name.
I can't think of it now. I was gonna transition to another show, but I did have another all that question, and it's completely escaped me at the moment. If I think of it, we'll jump back into it. But just because we mentioned it briefly, and yes, I know that we're talking all that, but all that cast members, yourself included, were a part of Figure It Out. And I was curious, what was it like doing Figure It Out?
It was a great experience. It was a great experience. That was I believe the one and only time I got slimed. And then, I mean, I'm sure it's out there that it was vanilla pudding with food coloring. That I learned that there, or I might have heard of it, but then that was the first time I actually experienced it firsthand and tasted it. And you know, it did make me feel proud and included. I'll just say that, like, if making it there on that platform just says something about your stature within the Nickelodeon hierarchy, right? Like, yeah, I'm one of the ones, and all that was, I mean, in general, being on that show, you already feel somewhat elevated because it's just the best show of all time, right? But also getting there just showed that, that there was some value, and I felt that. Now I only did 3 episodes, all shot in the same day. So I was only there one day. Well, there were people there that spent quite a bit of time there, namely Danny Tamborelli and Lori Beth were just regulars. But just having my name in those rafters always means a lot to me. And then I've got some great video from me being slimed. If you look at my face, I'm just like, this is what it like.
Yes, Leon got slime because the secret slime action is having your name in lights, and your name, you can't see it, but in front of you, it's lit up.
And I think my reaction wasn't quite what they wanted for the cameras. Like, this is a little bit humiliating. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so maybe I wasn't, yeah. So I wasn't giving it what they wanted it to give. But no, I mean, my reaction is what it was, and I had a lot of fun on that set. Got to meet Joe Namath. I still have that picture, and it was just great time. And also first time to Orlando, I believe, at that time. So just getting that whole experience. First and only time. I mean, I've been since, but not Nickelodeon related. And that, I believe the whole studio is just a time capsule now, right? So great to also experience that in its heyday.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that they had, because all that was in Orlando, and then they moved it, I guess, after season 2.
Yeah.
Correct me if
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
season
But
two-
around
yeah,
season
season
3 or something,
two.
they moved to California.
Yeah,
But
so
then they
once
also had their
they-
other productions there, so they were going back and forth. I assumed up until very recently that the Figure It Out, all of those shows were in the same studio, and you just kind of walk down the hall. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure. I'm not sure Figure It Out, I don't think was a thing during the first 2 seasons. No, it wasn't. So yeah, there was no crossover in the studio at that time. And Nick on Sunset was just like, it was new, it was a staple. It was literally, it's smack dab in the middle of Hollywood on Sunset and Argyle. There's right around the corner from the Hall of Fame. My favorite spot, Roscoe's, is right there. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's in the heart of Hollywood. And to have this child, this star or this show that was ran by the talent of children was just it was just incredible to have right there, and such a spectacle, because no other shows around there were getting a Busta Rhymes and a Ice Cube and a Spice Girls and coming through right there. Like, it was huge. Also right across from Palladium, which is still running and going crazy to this day. They've since knocked down the studio. They have some of the parts have been deemed, I believe, like a monument of the city. So there are remnants of the studio. And it was there from the 50s, I believe. And there was also some technology that was exclusive to that studio. So what was great is, obviously there's a lot of sketches and skits for all that. They had a rotating stage, so they could set up 4 or 5 different skits and literally turn them around to the audience, to the cameras. And so everything would be set up pre-show. And it's the only one, I believe, that had it, definitely at the time. Never seen one since then. Huge carousels of stages. So it was a great. We have a lot of great memories of that place. I'll just say that. A lot of great memories of that place. So shout out to the Nickelodeon on Hollywood Studios. Nick on Sunset. Yeah, Nickelodeon on Hollywood. Nick on Sunset is what they called it.
Yeah, even Saturday Night Live doesn't have a rotating carousel stage. They just operate in every single corner of what is essentially, it's a very small studio if you ever get the chance to go there.
The only thing I can really think of in any production is the main stage for the production of Noise Is Off, because that play is about things taking place behind the scenes. So they have a fake stage, and it is supposed to rotate during the show. But that's designed for that. I can't have imagined a television studio where they have to have all that preset. That's amazing.
Yeah, so they had that, and then they did have, obviously they had the green room, which was static, and then also the stage was over here, always static. And then everything else was built on that huge rotating stage. They would have 4 or 5 sets always built and ready to go.
Where did they have the musical guests? Was that a separate
So
stage?
it was there was a stage there. So I would say if you guys are the audience, or you guys are the stage, the rotating stage, on this side there was the audience looking at you all. And when I say you guys, I'm looking at the computer.
Yeah.
The computer facing me. You guys are the rotating stage. The audience was on this side facing you, and then the musical stage would have been to my left. So it was like it was out here separate from the main studio. And so it was literally all the audience would just walk off the stage to the left, and they would fill in this huge area that was right in front of the stage. So it was all right there in a little area, and then to the right would have been the green room. And so it was an incredible space, definitely an incredible space. And I don't know why they would take something down like that. Maybe that stage stopped working. They were like, we're not gonna who's gonna repair this 1950s rotating stage?
Repairman, man.
Oh, there he goes. He would have ruined. Yeah, he would have destroyed that.
Well, if they're gonna demolish the studio,
there were times I've always
was it
wondered,
Repairman?
There were times I've wondered what was in the script for those Repairman skits, especially the later ones, because there were times when, I mean, yes, you have your dialogue, but then after a while, it's just Kel unleashed.
Kel is on.
That's what I imagine the script would say. Like, okay, this is where Kel just tears the set up, everything.
Please don't not repair it. Please, I'm begging you. Let's get out of here before he repairs us all.
And And then those would be, if you ask one of my favorite moments, just in general, that would be just seeing Kel go off as Coach Cretan.
How you doing, little baby? Hey,
Like Coach Cretan, Repairman, any of those characters just turned into a dummy out of nowhere on the set, right? And he would fly in and out the windows and just crash
Physical
through the window.
comedy.
Yeah.
It's impeccable.
He was incredible. And then one of my favorite scenes that I acted in was when I did the voodoo doll or the hoodoo doll, I believe. And I'm, moving Coach Cretan to the left and to the right, stabbing him with a pencil.
oh, please, no! Oh, that ain't right! That ain't right! Come on! Oh, you're wrong! You're wrong! Oh!
See?
No, that was just a coincidence!
No, it wasn't. This is a real hoodoo dog. Check.
Do that to me! Oh! No! Oh, my walk that foot! My walk that foot! How am I supposed to?
Now you believe me?
the what it took to not laugh right in the face of
Yes.
Kel.
Yeah.
We had to redo a lot of stuff because of both him and Keenan. And now Keenan, it was always Principal William Baines Pimple, and he starts pump because he had a pump that would pump the pimple.
Principal of Dormont, Principal William Baines Pimpel. I will now remedy this situation and return you to your rightful place as commander of these beautiful hallways.
And he start gyrating it all fast, like
in time with his dialogue sometimes.
Of course, he'd be in your face and doing funny stuff with that Jerry curl wig, and also just seeing him trying not to laugh doing Pierre Escargot, some of my favorite.
Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup, pardon l'état de chouin unse. Thanks for the lovely used tissue. Oh!
I was a fan. of all that. Just happy to be there most of the time. Don't try to juxtapose it against what I said on Quiet. I was happy, and if we could somehow pull it all together. Life is full of ups and downs and good times, bad times, and it's important, obviously, to find create your own narrative and pull out the things that are worth pulling out and celebrating. But I will say I had so much fun, so many great memories on all that. Looking back, of course, things are questionable and you could question certain things. But while I was there, I was incredibly, I was happy to be there. Always fighting for more, wanting to do more and be bigger and, step into fame. But I think that's natural for everyone wanted that. Everyone was competing for the spotlight. And so, with that, I just want to leave everyone with, hey, I have great memories of that place. And very similar to what Keenan said, I love this statement. And don't take that away from us, because we want to support those that are in need and make sure that what needs to bring the light is brought to light. But allow us to enjoy our childhood, as you should as well. Watch Nickelodeon with the smile on your face. This is the reason why we love nostalgia. Y'all have to remember the good old times when we had good old television on that orange couch eating popcorn. It's Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Great times, man.
All right. Well, Leon, thank you very, very much, as always, for taking the time to come out here and share everything that you have, share your memories, and being somebody who was on the documentary, also not taking away from how important it is, but also don't take away what's important about our childhoods and our nostalgia too. Absolutely. That's vital. So thank you.
Vital information. Yeah, thank you, Kat. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Have me back anytime. In fact, we'll be back before Splat. You guys use code Splat10, Splat25 right here. You guys are helping out not only me and not only all the people that are going to be there at SplatCon, but also the Splat Attack podcast. Let's go.
All right. Well, that dude's just awesome. I just love Leon. He's always so fun. And yes, we did, like I said, we did try to reach out to some of the other cast members, and we unfortunately weren't able to make some of these others work because gosh, people be busy. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how Leon even had the time to be here because with all the work that he's doing, you all didn't see this, but Kat did. Before we actually started the episode, he was on a phone call working on things for SplatCon. So I mean, the guy is always hustling, and he's fantastic. So it just means that much more to us when he's here and takes the time out for this. But he's a podcaster. He gets it. He understands. But to start to wrap up the episode, Kat, being the amazing person she is, she's come up with some questions for our first Think Fast to make the grade for this episode. No. But she's come up with some trivia questions for me, and we initially it was going to be for the All That cast, but I haven't seen these questions, so she's going to quiz me. So let's go to Think Fast to make the grade. Time to think fast to make the grade.
All right. Doing a lightning round, I guess, and Phoebe is right here, ready to just photobomb me. So, Christy Knowings played a game show host in the sketch What Do You Do? Who is that character based on?
Oh gosh. Well, that was the game show one. You say Christy Knowings, and the first thing I think of is the weather one.
No.
with Josh. But no, this is the game show one.
What do you do?
Yeah. I guess because the only other real big game show. I mean, it seemed very figure it out like. So I'm assuming Summer Sanders.
Yep. Her character's name was Winter Wonders and is based on Summer Sanders.
Oh, so, okay. Yeah.
That was the clincher. I was like, oh, is that Summer? And then her character was Winter Wonders. And it's like, yeah. Okay. Point for Alex. Everything's made up and the points don't matter, but cool.
Go for a high score.
All right. So I scattered some of these in here a little willy-nilly. So this is like a three-parter. So name three. You can see my three. Fading into the background. Three super dude villains.
Milkman is the first one I think of. Freaking Josh Server. And Yo Girl is probably the most popular one. But the Cowboy was the one that makes me laugh the most. Just the design of it. But those are the three. I know there was a couple of others, but those are the only three that really come to mind for me.
Yes, we would have accepted. You said Milkman, Butterboy.
Oh, Butterboy, yes.
Yo Girl. Mm-hmm. There's an imposter super dude situation, but Cowboy and the Dairy Godfather.
The imposter that was the one with Amanda Bynes, wasn't it? Wasn't she the imposter Supergirl?
I believe so. She played a few superheroes, but on Have a Nice Day with Leroy and Fuzz, Leroy trapped Fuzz in a crate and shipped him to where?
I showed almost all these. I did a whole binge of these with Sam on the last time that Leon was coming in because Sam didn't get that far with all that. He was still stuck on like season 2 and 3. Like no, go a little further to find Leon. So I showed him all the Leroy and Fuzz. It was Cuba.
Yes, it was. What channel do Cooking with Randy and Mandy and Whatever air on?
Oh God, it was the same channel?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was the same channel. Well, okay, but anyway, channel 106B presents Cooking with Randy and Mandy.
And
I didn't realize.
Randy.
Yeah. Just Randy.
Yep. Tandy. Vegetables and such.
Vegetables and such.
All right, Randu.
Oh, gosh. Oh, Randy. I love Tandy.
Tandy.
I'm gonna have to go as Tandy for Halloween one year.
Oh my gosh, are you gonna cosplay as Tandy?
I might have to at SplatCon. I'll be Tandy
In front of Josh Scherf. Oh man.
Sam will
Okay.
have no clue. He'll like
A lot of these are like, I want to see the cosplays. I'm excited. All right, especially with some of these here. Okay, name the 5 Spice Boys.
Oh God, nope. Nope. Boy power. I don't.
Visually, if you remember what they look like.
I know. That's
that'll
the
help
thing.
ya.
The only ones that are there was Dead Spice because they had
Yeah.
that skeleton, and one of them was sweating.
Yep.
Who was that one? Who
Sweaty
played
Spice.
Sweaty? No. I mean
Nick
the
Cannon.
actor who that was Nick.
Cannon.
Yeah, because he had the Jerry curls that were all over his face, and
Yeah.
and
Danny Tamborelli was in there.
somebody was just mumbling.
Yeah,
Who was that one? Like the actor.
Josh Server.
That was Josh.
Yes.
And there,
See,
I was trying to
Mumbly Spice was the name. I mean, just add
Oh, Mumbly Spice.
add a Y onto like all the.
And then Danny was, he's just this, I guess Harry Spice.
Yes.
But I don't remember. There was also Keenan.
Yeah.
But he wasn't really. I don't know if they ever said who he was. I don't know him. I don't know what
Yeah.
he
Okay.
was.
The first sketch, he came up as Bert Spice, and the whole sketch was about how he needed to change his name. So then he came
Okay.
up as Spice Cube.
Oh god. Okay. Oh gosh, I
Yes,
hated
we
this.
have Harry Spice was Danny. Sweaty Spice was Nick Cannon. Mumbly Spice was Josh. Dead Spice was a literal skeleton prop. And Spice Cube / Bert Spice was played by Keenan. You got a lot of them. You got 4 out of 5.
Well, there were so many of those freaking sketches. Oh man, I hated the Spice Boys. But I mean, anyone who's watched the show knows how much I just do not like the Spice Girls. I couldn't stand them then, and then watching the show, binge watching it during the pandemic, and then because I stopped watching by the time Spice Boys were around. So I didn't see any of it before, and I was like, "Oh, I get to watch more of these cast members again." Because I've not, I want to see more of Christy. I want to see more of Leon. I want to see even the later season with Lisa and Chelsea and all these other people. And then they came out and I was like, "What are they doing? What's another band thing? One of the Spice Boys? Oh God, no! Oh please no!" And I was hoping it was just going to be one off and they were done. No, there was a freaking ton of them.
Okay, which actor made a guest appearance on the Bridget's Slumber Party sketch and then returned to be on the Sugar and Coffee sketch the following episode?
That I don't know. That was the later ones. That was with Lisa Foyles, and I don't know that one as well. I don't remember as many of the guests because that was when they had like a guest. That was when they were doing big hosts.
That was
And
the reboot. Yep.
And I don't remember who was on what sketch. I don't know.
Okay. It was Tom Green.
Oh, okay.
He came into Bridget's Slumber Party. It was the Halloween episode, and he dressed as a mummy.
Sausage fingers.
The sketch in which Coach Cretin rescues a cat from a tree takes place on a very recognizable set from what other Nickelodeon show?
It's a tree. How many other Nickelodeon shows have a prominent tree on their set?
Come and let's play together.
in the bright sunny weather.
Let's all go to
Gullah Gullah Island.
Gullah Gullah. Ooh, that was good. But yeah, I think he even says when he's climbing up, he's like, "Stupid Gullah tree!" Like he calls it out right there. That they're on the Gullah Gullah Island set.
Yes.
All right, this one, I should hope you know. Name 3 Jimmy Bond villains.
I'm gonna exceed that.
All right.
The Coldfinger.
Yes.
Hot Toe.
Yes.
Let's see. Dr. Maybe. That was.
Yep.
DeSanto. I think it was Jack.
Dr. Maybe.
Mr. Nice Guy. That was Gabriel Iglesias.
Yes.
And then our guest today was Mr. Big.
Mm-hmm.
Which Mr. Big is not. Well, Mr. Big was. No, there was a Mr. Big. They didn't even change the name.
I was surprised.
Coldfinger obviously was Goldfinger. Hot Toe was just the opposite. There wasn't really a Bond villain for that. Dr. Maybe was Dr. No. Mr. Nice Guy was. I don't know who Mr. Nice. There really wasn't a Mr. Nice Guy or an equivalent of that in Bond.
Yeah.
It was just a no more Mr. Nice Guy thing. So that was that one. But Mr. Big, there Live and Let Die. There was the main guy's main villain's name was Kananga, but he had this. He would put on makeup to look like a gangster at one point, so that way nobody would put the two people together, and that makeup person was Mr. Big.
I feel like I should give you 10 points for that one. Or like one for each villain you named, and then another point for each one that you explained their counterpart in the actual James Bond movie.
You get James Bond. I'm like, yep, I got this. Give it.
Yep. All right, Kiki and Fran finally left the island when they stole jet skis from these 2 characters, who then became the Island Boys.
I don't know their names. I don't know that one.
Walter and Wyatt were the character names.
Okay. Yep, never would have got it. Never would have got it. Walter White.
Yeah, I thought that was cool when it's basically like a handing over the keys to the kingdom type of thing, where they're just like, instead of, they just had the Island Boys, and that was an Island Boy sketch from there on out.
So Walter White is now the Island Boy?
No. All right. What animated short film first debuted on All That and then later was included in Kablam before becoming its own TV show?
I mean, they used Chuck-A-Vision. They used Chuck-A-Vision to make this short. Loved this segment. I was so happy whenever they brought it to Kablam, because I was really hoping to see more of it on All That, and I was very sad that it was only like twice. But Action League now.
Yes. All right. I mean, that's all the questions I have. Although there was, in preparing for this episode, I watched several seasons of All That and noticed some common threads, like vital information. In the background, they have different pieces of vital information, and it changes, but in the reboot, they reuse some of the old sayings in the back, I believe. So one was the lather, rinse, maim. Which, there are a couple others too. But that was like the bonus question. It's like, what piece of lather, rinse, what?
I never would have got that. Never would have got that. All right. Well, did you tally points?
Everything's made up and the points don't matter. But you got, aside from the one Spice Boy, and Tom Green
and Walter White.
Yeah. So -3. That's okay.
Okay. That's not bad.
I didn't have any of the points attached to this because I was like willy-nilly kind of like, okay, who's slated to come on? What question do I have about one of their characters?
All right. Well, before we wrap up the episode, I'm just going to pull this up right now. Mona has delivered some more mail for us, and we've got a new fan email to read. So let's take a look over at Mona's mailbag.
These are for you.
All right, and our last episode where we had our documentary reviews of the Orange Years and Happy Happy Joy Joy, which those guys were freaking cool. Yeah, I freaking Ron and Chemo and Scott, they were all just wonderful. And I didn't really say it on the episode, but now that this is looking at something that was past, I loved how just the three of them were just so supportive of each other's work, and also how serendipitous there were so many things that crossed over, like, oh yeah, I was there too, and it was so many cool things that you never would have thought would happen. It was fun. But my boy Travis, he has sent us another email in regards to that episode, in which also we read his email in that one, so we're gonna read it again because, you know, we're pen pals at this point. Travis says, "Hi, Alex and company.
That's us.
I just got finished watching the latest episode. Good stuff. Chemo, Ron, and Scott are such fascinating people. I'm now putting Watch, The Orange Years, and Happy Happy Joy Joy, the Ren and Stimpy story on my to-do list. Alex, I think I know what you mean when you mention having a new perspective after meeting the people who you saw in the Orange Years documentary. I guess I kind of feel the same way after getting the chance to spend some time with Jim Jenkins, Brock Bradley, not to mention the people who I talked with outside of the podcast over the years, including Alyssa Reyes and even Chris Kattan from SNL. What part of Nickelodeon history would I want to make a documentary about? I guess I would say maybe the history of Double Dare, Wienerville, or even lesser-known Nick shows like Out of Control and Welcome Freshmen. Thanks for your time. Stay gacky. Let's take the gack back. Travis K." And there is a an hour-long documentary type thing for Double Dare when it turned 30, I believe. That somebody had put together and had a lot of the people that were involved in making that show. I mean, yes, it had Mark Summers and Robin and Harvey, but it also had some of the other people behind the scenes too. And it was an excellent, well done thing. And I don't know if you can find it online now, as in like YouTube, but I found it through Facebook because they put it on the Double Dare official webpage or Facebook page, so you can probably still find it. But yes, a documentary of Welcome Freshmen and Wienerville, Out of Control. Yeah, I'm all for it. To be honest, I could do a whole documentary on every show of Nickelodeon, a full in-depth thing, not just 30 minutes. I could do 2 hours on every one. I'm that kind of chaos. But thank you, Travis.
That's kind of what we're doing with the podcast. It's just in installments.
It is. I mean, that's very much what we're doing. Like, and that's what I had told them after the episode, because most of you aren't going to see it unless you go over to our Patreon, because we also put out behind the scenes conversations that we would have with these people, both during the podcast and after the episode. And sometimes we just get bantering in the middle that doesn't really pertain to what we're talking about. So all that stuff also gets put over on our Patreon. And I was talking to the guys after the episode and was talking to them about how much respect I have for them for having to cut down so much of their documentary, because even just doing these episodes, at best, we're maybe looking at an hour conversation, which is probably what we had with Leon today, about an hour. But even then, there are times it goes far longer, like the Welcome Freshmen. Anytime I've had them on, it's been 4 hours plus to just letting them talk. And how do you trim down to just about 10 seconds for an hour-and-a-half documentary. I mean, how can you do that? There's so much good stuff in there, and that's what we do on a weekly basis. Just about would have interviews with people and share probably 85%, 90% of the conversation. There's still a good chunk that most people don't get to see if you're not being a patron. But I love what they did, and I'm happy that we are able to continue to deep dive, not just with ones that people already know, but even ones that people don't know. And then the things that they do know, we can add a new light to. And that's part of why we do what we do.
I always love seeing the comments on the videos where it's like, oh, I totally forgot about this show, or, you know, oh, core memory unlocked is when I see a lot with posts about some like Roundhouse and some of the other shows that are weren't played as often or as long as some of the others in reruns. So that's pretty cool to be able to sort of trigger happy memories in that way and get people interested in the shows again.
Yeah. And I love that when I especially love those moments whenever we get emails or comments where people are saying that they're now watching this show. I don't mean Splat Attack, I mean the show that we were talking about in that episode. They're watching it with their kids and getting them inspired and excited. And Mike, he spells it M-Y-K. He was on our Keenan and Kel Versus episode and was our 1,000th follower on Instagram, and we gave him a Snick DVD, and he said that he was watching it with his daughters, and that was really fun too, that just to be able to have something to contribute to keep the nostalgia alive. And if anything, I'm really happy that that's one of the things that Leon was also talking about was, yes, again, wrapping it up, there's some awful things that happen in children's television, but honestly, there's so much good that's also happened. And don't let the bad things ruin what you appreciate about the good. Yes, talk about it. Yes, bring light to it. We need to bring light to darkness, so that way things can be talked about, things can be improved upon, people can heal, and people who need to be held accountable can be held accountable. But that should not ruin your childhood. There's still so much to appreciate, and that's what our focus was today, and hearing such wonderful memories that Leon had to share. And a personal highlight for me was just hearing his support of Amanda. It's always heartwarming. But going along with this in mind of finding things to appreciate, Kat, what is our closing question for the day?
Closing question is, which All That sketches were your favorites and why? Write to us via email at splatattack2021@gmail.com. DM us on Instagram at splatattackpodcast. And subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already. And interact with us wherever you find us on social media.
Alrighty. Well, again, thank you to Leon for coming out. Those of you who couldn't be here, if you're watching, well, looking forward to having you on at some point in the future. You guys are all awesome. Thank you all for your support and your willingness to be here despite all the circumstances that came up. But until next time, Kat, will you help me build the studio, please? We need to start decorating for the next episode and finish cleaning up the messes that you and Manny made during the last 2 episode outros.
Oh, said I was sorry. You don't like the skylight? Fine. Aye, co-captain. But, I mean, can't we just talk about all that for a little while longer? I've got so much more I want to say.
Nope. You got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Come on. Let's give another round of sound for our guests and wrap up the show, or else we're going to be here
forever and ever 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 and ever.
You better save some of that enthusiasm for the next episode. Splat you later, Slimesters.
And ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
I'm your Nick Jr. co-host.
I've called you that before. If you want to call it that, that's fine.
Like you
I've already told him that we would do Sam Reacts next season, and he's already, Dad, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this?
Oh, today's the day, man. You got to fulfill that.
I love Sam Reacts. I have to say, I love Meg Reacts too, but I do miss Sam Reacts. So
Like, give me more fame. I need
more fame.
views.
It's not about fame, dude. It's not about fame.
Yeah, that's the easy part,
All
right?
Hi.
Fame is the easy part.
Skirty. You said you wanted to say hi to Leon.
Hey, what's good, bro?
I